Hi everyone. So it is becoming increasingly more difficult for me to go live, which I do not understand. So now YouTube has changed how they want to allow us to stream, and Facebook is changing how they want to allow you to stream, and they say it's improved and it looks way more complicated, and it's almost like it's making it harder for people to go live, which is really interesting. Hey Bridget, so I'm gonna give a few seconds for everybody to hop on. Hey Emily. Yeah, it's just becoming crazy hard for me to go live, which is super interesting to me, and I wonder if other people are having the same experience because this seems strange. Anyways, so this is not my usual. Usually I go live on YouTube, or I have been going live on YouTube, and I've been doing fireside chats there, which are a lot of current event information with my opinions thrown in there. We're going to talk a little bit about that right now. My own opinions about what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, what I'm researching. Hey Susie. And also just news, stuff that's happening that you guys should probably know, maybe don't have the time to research, or, you know, couldn't find material that wasn't completely biased and telling you a bunch of lies, which is happening a lot right now in mainstream media. So I've been doing the fireside chat project, so you can find all of those videos on my YouTube channel. But this video is a little bit different. I've been hearing a lot from so many different communities that I happen to be in about the impact that this is having on them energetically. Hey Abby. So for those of you who are relatively new to my sphere, maybe don't know a lot about me, you see me doing a lot of fitness stuff and nutrition stuff, which is of course like my business. I run an online fitness business, and I have a fitness community where I help people with that. And of course mental health, because that's a big part of my story. But my background many years back is in psychic work, and I'm an interfaith minister. I'm also a yoga instructor. I was a rehab therapist for 8 years. I'm also a graduate of the University of Florida with dual degrees in classical writing and classical history. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. So I'm technically a reverend doctor. I also have a doctor of divinity to go with my ministerial license. I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, is all I'm about to say before I get into the real stuff. Hey Charlotte, hey Anita. I'm not talking out of my butt. I'm not talking out of just becoming a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist in the past 3 weeks. That didn't happen like that, okay? So let me explain to you about what's going on from a more zoomed out perspective. Because I have been sharing a lot of very zoomed in perspective, things, in other words, that are happening on this earth in this current timeline that we can perceive with our eyes. And I shared it, no lie, I do. And I share the zoomed in perspective because I do believe in education. I believe in being an educated person and knowing when you're following threads of consciousness, what you're following, and whether you're trying to be swayed or mind controlled. I think it's important that you guys understand that right now you're in an information war. And if you don't know that, you are psychologically at war with the information you're being given. The media has your attention, and it is trying to get you to decide what it wants you to decide. It's trying to get you to feel what it wants you to feel. I really need you guys to understand that. There's a silent war in the background right now that very few people are paying attention to. And there's a reason that's ongoing. And I'm about to give you the zoomed out reason for why that's ongoing. Okay, but I needed you guys to understand my background first, so when I start talking about this, you get why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay, hi Ashley. Hi, you guys are coming in fast. So if I'm not saying hi to you, I'm sorry. It's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just the names are going real fast. Okay, hang tight with me. Okay, first, I have a couple of announcements, and they're going to be kind of sprinkled through, but if you guys didn't hear about my meditation event, I have 2 events happening tomorrow, actually. One is a group meditation event that I'll be hosting in the evening about this time. And we're just going to get together and we're going to, it's a 444 number. Okay. So tomorrow's the 4th, it's April, which is the 4th month. And in 2020, you add that up in numerology, you get the number 4. It's a 4-year. It's a very powerful day tomorrow. It's also a Stargate tomorrow. So my intention is to do a mass group meditation where we can all put our energy very focused into healing the grid of this earth and eliminating ourselves from the storyline of being slaves, which is the agenda of Earth, by the way. We'll get into that in a second. Like ending that storyline, plugging out of that storyline, and moving into a storyline of sovereignty. Okay, that's what this meditation is going to be about. So if you check these comments when I'm done with this video, I will put in the meditation link. It's an event. And you can say that you're going to go, please share it. This is for everyone. This is to reach as many people as possible. So that's the first one. The second one I'll talk about in a little bit, but that one's relevant to where I'm going to hop into, okay? So a lot of you guys have been waking up being red-pilled. A lot of you guys are being red-pilled fast. Okay? Hi, Dia. And hi, Elaine. So what's happening is many of you are coming to an awareness that's becoming very surprising to you. Hi, Stacy. Maybe you're beginning to learn about things for the very first time that you had no awareness of. Maybe you're starting to look at the leadership in your country in a different way than you had before because you were sold on a specific agenda. Hi, Jenny. Maybe you are finding that things aren't lining up or things aren't making sense, and you are beginning to have this unease inside of you that you are not being told a full story. And that's been a lot of you guys. And for a lot of you who are very sensitive and who are empaths, you are burning your circuits on all ends. And I'm hearing that everywhere. Okay? It's okay. I know that that's happening to all of you. You guys are not alone. Exhaustion seems to be the reigning symptom of this. Everybody feels very tired. Everybody just wants to lay down. Nobody really has the energy to do things or participate in things. And so if you find yourself resting more than usual or wanting to rest more than usual, that's normal. That's part of what's happening, is the amount of energy that's happening right now on this planet as all these storylines are being played simultaneously is a lot. Okay? So rest becomes important, and on top of that, rest becomes very important for immune system purposes. When you're rested and when you're hydrated, to very simple things everybody has access to that I know of, my immediate circle probably watching this, you can stay really healthy. Okay? So the history of Earth is a dark one. And if you haven't figured that out yet, you probably know that right now. You're probably starting to sense that right now. Okay? We were created intentionally. We were not a random creation. And we were created with the intention of servitude. And our timeline changed as we evolved, and this consciousness started to come from us that was very strong, powerful consciousness. Humans have a very special ability galactically. It's very different than other beings. We have this ability to have compassion and this ability to love, this ability to develop our psychic sense very acutely, this ability to see through the third eye into different realms. We actually are very, very special beings. And that is well known galactically. Okay? Very well known galactically. On this plane, when we talk about the slave trade on this plane, on Earth, like trafficking of humans, it is a massive problem. But what I don't think people realize is that the trafficking of humans is a galactic problem. It's not an Earth problem. And that's actually where the problem started, was not just because 1% of the population on this planet decided to start running traffic rings. That's not how that happened. The idea of doing that was given to them by someone else. They didn't come up with that on their own. They were sold an idea of why that was valuable, and then they decided to do it. So our consciousness is extremely valuable. Our body is extremely valuable. Our organs are extremely valuable. Our pineal gland is extremely valuable. We are very valuable, and we have been. And we are in high demand galactically. A lot of you guys are looking at me right now like, what is she even talking about? But I'm getting into some real stuff right here. Probably nobody in your life has ever told you this. And there's a reason why. It's fucking scary. It's deep. It's what it is. But you guys are ready for this now. Our consciousness has tipped, so I can talk about this and feel confident that it's going to land where it needs to land. Okay? So the earth always had an agenda. This idea of using humans for purposes that were less than good has always been on the agenda book of someone. So when I began 3 weeks ago meeting a lot of people who were tightly grouped into very specific conspiracy formats. By the way, conspiracy theory, like people think about that word as being like, oh, tinfoil hat, but really conspiracy only means something that goes against or is hidden from the mainstream. There's so many things that could be conspiracy, right? Like herbs helping you with certain health conditions could be considered a conspiracy theory because it's not like a mainstream well-known concept, okay? So I just want you guys to understand what that word or phrase actually means. So a lot of these people that I've gotten to know in the past few weeks who associate with conspiracy groups like Q or QAnon, these are like specifically a political group. A lot of them are very Christian, a lot of them have a very strong Christian background, and they see this, they're sort of tapped in the sense that they see this push-pull between good, evil, or good, evil, those words are loaded, or like white, dark, magic, energy. They see it in the language of Christ and the devil because that is their language. That is their format. That is their template. That is their structure. Okay? But what I had to get into discussion in one of these groups was, you guys understand that that structure is very young. That language is very young. And what I'm talking about goes back over 6,000 years. I mean, more than that. I mean, you're talking about thousands of years. And this format for looking at this, you know, that very highly Christian format is what, 3,000? I mean, baby, young, okay? So this energy of control, manipulation came from different beings. That's where we come from. If you guys haven't figured out that humans didn't sprout just from apes miraculously, hate to break it to you, but we didn't. I'm sure primate DNA was, of course, of use and functional. Obviously, we share a lot of DNA with them, but that's not how we came to be who we are. We're very sophisticated creatures energetically, and it's different. It's different. My neighbors smoke so much weed, and it's so strong. It's like through the air vent. I can smell it in my office. And they're smoking outside in their yard. They smoke like every single night. And I'm just like, right now all I smell is like marijuana. It's like every night in my house just smells like weed. It's crazy. It's nuts. So I'm like sweating talking about this because this is stuff that like I have been studying forever. And this is stuff that I've been downloading forever, but it can be so out there that people just, they can't even put their minds around. They can't even grasp this kind of a conversation. But I feel like it's time that we start having the real conversation with actually going on. So the earth always had an agenda. It was created with the intention of manipulation and of farming us for purposes. you could probably figure that out. Then the elite, what we know as the elite, which have been running the upper echelons of society for a long, long time on this planet in every civilization, they have been around for a long time, and they were told that if they engaged in certain practices and they did certain things, that they would have power and influence and longevity, immortality, almost immunity, and they bought into that story, and they decided that they were going to sort of structure us in a way where they could get away with all this back end stuff for a long time. And now we're starting to learn about them. A lot of us are waking up to the terminology of, you know, the elite or cabal or whatever. It's becoming more common to hear those words. But this has been around for a long time. And if you heard anything about my lineage, my ancestry, then you've heard me talk about why I have memory of that particular circumstance or that group of people. But again, what I'm talking about is separate from what these groups of people are talking about. This is like very old. This is like beginning of time. Okay. So today I was doing a lot of kind of like soul work, trying to figure out how do I help my community ground this energy, because it's frying everybody's circuits. The grid is so full of confusion and fear that everybody's feeling fried. So I started kind of randomly on my playlists on YouTube going through some videos, and I went to this woman who I followed a long time ago and haven't for a while. Her name is Magenta Pixie. I like her meditations a lot. I like her voice. And she was talking about the concurrent timelines, and I said that makes sense. To explain what's happening, that makes perfect sense. So her explanation, which feels very concurrent with what I'm feeling, is that there are multiple agendas happening right now on the planet globally. And so the confusion that we feel is not because obviously information feels confusing, but energetically it's confusing because there's all these things happening simultaneously that we sense, but we don't understand consciously. So she talked about the three agendas, meaning like there's the dark arts agenda, which is fraying. And Gigi Young, she's someone else whose YouTube video I shared here as well. She talked about Kali Yuga, the cycles of Kali Yuga, how that's coming to an end. And the Kali Yuga cycle is about destruction. And so what she was talking about lines up with what Magenta was talking about, which is this cycle of darkness that we have been in for an extended period of time. And that reality is beginning to fray and it's falling apart. And the people who were holding that structure in place, that grid in place, are beginning to get exposed in different ways. They're becoming vulnerable to the grid that they've held. That she referred to it as like the iron core, right? So we're talking about the diamond core versus the iron core. Diamond core being the energetic evolution of the planet, and the grids. So you've probably heard of people talk about the crystalline grid of the earth. So that is the transition that we're going to energetically. So the people who are really holding on to the iron core, who are really planting into the collective consciousness, the fear, mass control, mass manipulation, dogma, restriction. So there were group of people holding that, beings, holding that grid on this planet. That is fraying. And then there's another collective of people who are the light workers, the star seeds. A lot of you will identify with this title. You've incarnated during this time and you've probably always felt really lost and like you didn't belong and you didn't understand why you were here. All of a sudden you're all waking up and you're feeling very activated and you're beginning to understand a little bit more about why you've done the work that you've done to hold space for other people. Like now I feel like a lot of us are beginning to understand why we studied the psyche, why we studied energetic healing, why we studied spirituality or religion. It's beginning to make sense to us why we dedicated our lives to these healing arts, because now there's a massive need for helping and healing on this planet. So there's those people that are holding a different vibration on this planet. They are moving into that like 5D activation and the crystalline grid and the diamond core of the planet. And so they're holding this frequency of, I don't want to use the word utopia because I don't fully align with that word, but a very different reality where there's a lot of freedom and there's a lot of expression and there's a lot of cooperation and community, right? They're holding a very different vibration, pillaring a different vibration. And then you have the third storyline, which is just humanity. And she also referred to these as like neutrals, right? There are people who are sort of neutral in this game that are going to be significant in the sense that they are the ones that are going to be the moving chess pieces, making decisions and doing things that are going to make a difference for the trajectory of the planet. And these people might not necessarily, like, it could be politicians, it could be famous people, it could be people that they're not necessarily this or that, but they are still important chess pieces, and they will be influenced by the collective energy of whichever side, I guess, is pulling. This all sounds very confusing, I'm aware, but I'm trying to explain this as simply as possible. So she talked about those 3 different timelines and those 3 different groups of people that are at the same time doing work on the planet. And she did emphasize, which I have heard from other people as well, and I have felt myself, that those people who are talking about, oh, we're going to lose all of our rights and all of our freedoms and we're going to become a police world, and that was the intentional direction. That was what was planned. That was actually the thing that was being hoped for, is that we would become more contracted, more controlled, more manipulated, more losing of our freedoms, that we would actively give them up, that was the plan. So what I think is happening is we are kind of caught between 2 timelines, because I think we were headed in that direction, and then something has happened between the original momentum of that direction and now that has interrupted that. Something is interrupting that trajectory. So, you know, when you're switching from one, I mean, now with TV, probably not, but back in the day when you had a dial for radio stations or TV stations, and you would turn it to go from one station to the next, but then sort of in between stations, you would get this like static, right? Like another one would come in, but it wasn't super clear. It was just kind of like a choppy, like, you guys know what I'm talking about? Anybody old enough to remember that? Because I remember that. I'm not that old. That's what's happening right now, energetically. That's what I'm feeling, is like we were in this momentum. I guess you could say the dark energy was sort of winning and bringing us in this momentum, and then something's changed in our trajectory, and this energy of the collective, of the 5D, of the light workers, just kind of boop, just push this, and now we're stuck. Okay, yeah, like jumping timelines. So we're kind of gridlocked right now. Okay, it's almost like an energetic tug of war. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? So you have these people who are like, no, mass vaccinations and control and cameras in every corner and blah, blah, blah. And they're pushing for that. And then you have this side that's like, hell no, we are not going in that direction. That is not what we about. This is what we not finna do. This is what we not finna do. Have you guys seen those TikTok videos? That's how I feel right now. This is what we not finna do. This is what we not finna do. Like this is what we not finna do, right? So that's happening at the same time. And then you have these like neutral pieces, which for me are like the president and the military, and these pieces that some of them might be more light or dark or whatever, but they're more neutral in the sense that they're being affected by the collective input. Okay, so that's what's happening. That's why you feel tension in your body. That's why you want to nap forever. That's why you don't have energy. That's why, because you're like literally in a tug of war. Literally in an energetic tug of war right now. And the sides are trying to see who's going to take who out right now, okay? Unfortunately for the dark arts, their time is up because they already completed their cycle. So it is favoring that we will transition into that diamond core, into that crystalline grid, into that 5D that most of us have been waiting for and talking about forever, like decades. It is favoring that, okay? So, and here's what I know from a spiritual perspective is like anything that feeds you fear, anything that generates the frequency of fear in your body is toxic. And oftentimes, in the name of education and awareness, we will share information that is terrifying. And we have to be very mindful of that because I know how desperately we want to open people's eyes and we want to tell them like, look, this is happening, pay attention. But there's a way to do that. And I have to really catch myself when I'm sharing information to not, like if you notice, I'll put a thread on my page and I'll say, if you want to share stuff, please share it on this thread. But I'm not blasting on my page horrific things that I am learning about or seeing because I want to safeguard your consciousness and I want you to make the decision to look through that thread and read if you want to. I don't want you to be assaulted by things that I'm just putting out there without you being able to make the decision to look, okay? So I am giving you the option. That's my way of consent. That's my way of consent. And I encourage you to do the same thing, to really give people the option of consent versus red pilling them by force, because I don't think that's cool. I think that's scary for a lot of people. They don't understand what's happening. So give them an option, like help them, build a bridge. Okay. Yeah, I can't believe we're here now either. This time is so crazy. Okay, so anybody have any questions about this? I just gave you like so much information. I don't even know if you know what I'm talking about at all. Most of y'all probably think she lost the plot, but that's okay. Yeah, consent. This is my way. Like we need to give each other options. You know, like I'm all for educating and I'm all for opening the eyes of people and offering them the red pill, but it's not, you know, when you think about the Matrix, like he was given an option, you know, he wasn't like, here's a red pill, better take it, you know, like he was presented with an option. Throughout this whole thing, I have had this burden of knowing. That phrase just keeps like, yeah, you know, Jen, that's a light worker burden. I gotta tell you, I feel like there is no light worker on the planet right now that doesn't feel the burden of knowing. So I recognize you. I see you. And I really recognize that. There is no single light worker on this planet that doesn't feel the burden of knowing right now. It's insane. It's insane. And I vacillate between wanting to cry a lot and being grateful a lot, if I'm being very transparent. Bridget, you said I had a girl who was staying with us when I daily would bombard us with all this. She has since moved, but funny thing is I actually wish you were here so I could fuck so much of this in the last 4 weeks, but damn, I feel like I assaulted myself by what I learned. Yeah, that's the thing, is red pilling is intense and it often leaves you feeling that way. Like you assaulted yourself with information. There's never been a time in history like right now. I just want you guys to understand that. Like in our cosmic, galactic history, in the thousands of years that we have been a consciousness, there's never been a time like this one. This is like the biggest freedom battle energetically ever. This is the stuff that like Harry Potter is made of. Like we don't really get it yet, but like it is. This right here, this is like a Harry Potter book trilogy, or I don't know, 8 books in. This is that story, okay? This is the Lord of the Rings. This is the climb to the mountain in Mordor to throw that stupid fucking ring in the fire and get this over with. Like, that's what this is right now. This is what this, and every light worker on the planet feels like fucking Frodo right now. We don't feel like Sam, we feel like Frodo. That's what's going on right now. So if you're watching all of these like empathic people around you fucking freaking out and having chest pain, it's because everyone is Frodo. This is the archetype right now for every single light worker I know on the planet. Okay? Hey Rachel, hey Lisa. Yeah, there's a lot of crying happening. There's a lot of, this is, you know, like gratitude at the same time and being, but you guys, I honestly feel like going back to basics right now. I understand that being at home and there's been so much job loss and so much has changed in such a short period of time on this plane on Earth. But I want you guys to understand that we were not sustainable the way we were. I really need you guys to hear that. Our life was not sustainable. I don't care what you think it wasn't sustainable. It was too much. We were burning out on every end, burning the earth, burning ourselves, burning each other. We were fucking too much. We needed a global timeout. Everyone did. Everyone did. And now, look what happened. Everyone stopped moving and so many people woke up. Is that not telling to you? Is it not telling to you that as soon as everybody stopped moving, they woke up? This was important. This was an important pause in life. Because we weren't going to get it. We were going to lose is what was going to happen. We were going to drive our train off the damn tracks into the abyss if we didn't stop and pay attention. That was what was going to happen. Okay? You guys get it now? Are you seeing why this was important? It wasn't just for no reason. It's important. Okay? Like, if we didn't stop, we were never going to save ourselves. We just weren't. And I can guarantee you, there's a lot of you watching right now. I can guarantee you the majority of you guys are really looking at your lives and saying, what the hell was I doing at that job? Soul-sucking fucking thing. No thanks. A lot of you guys are looking at your relationships and starting to ask some really important questions. A lot of you guys are re-examining how you feel as a parent. A lot of you guys are starting to ask yourself a lot of questions. Even in my groups, I see them with their relationship to food. People are home freaking out about their relationship to food. Like, they can't control themselves. I'm like, that right there, that needed to be looked at. You weren't looking at that because you weren't home. Now you are. Okay? Ears ringing. I've been hearing that a lot as well. And prophetic dreams. Been hearing that a lot. Wow. That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Bridget. I do not believe that this is for our harm. I believe this moment in time it's a setup, not a setback. And I believe that when we reintegrate into what is going to be our life from now on, it'll be different than it was. And that we will have such a much clearer understanding of who we are and what matters to us, who matters to us, where we want our energy to go, like we've never had before. Never. And it's very interesting to me how revealing things, yeah, it is like a cleansing. How revealing it has become which companies are trash and don't deserve their employees. Which, like, organizations are dumpster fire and need to be wiped off this planet. Which benefactors have actually never had your best interests in mind. Isn't that interesting how quickly we are learning where our allies are and where they're not? And for those of you who are not Star Wars fans, first of all, how that's even possible blows my freaking mind. Secondly, the Rebel Alliance is a real thing. The Empire is a real thing. Those aren't fake concepts. And I've said that for years. I have literally been saying this for years and people think I'm nuts. Those are real. That's really happening. Okay? And so we are going to soon learn just how real all this is. We don't know this yet, but we're going to soon learn. It's going to become pretty crystal clear in not too long how real this is. But my invitation to you, and I'm going to go into announcements again in a second, my invitation to you is to ask yourself, where do you want to align right now? Like really, really, what do you want to see out of this? Not what is your brain telling you to freak out about, not what did your Aunt Linda send you over text message about the article that said that, fuck Aunt Linda right now, man, okay? Not any of that, not anyone but you. What do you want to see out of this experience when this cycle is done? Because it will be. This cocoon is not going to last forever. That's unsustainable. What do you want? What kind of world do you want to live in? What kind of reality do you want to be engaged with? What do you want your relationships to be like? What do you want your professional life to be like? What do you want your well-being to feel like? Because what I need you guys to understand is this whole idea that, and for those of you who have been in the world of woo, we've talked about this forever. We have talked about how different people live in different realities. And you guys are seeing that now more than ever. It is becoming so crystal clear who is living in what timeline. Yay or nay? Yay or nay? Right? You can literally see 6 different experiences of reality on the internet right now, on Facebook. How many of you guys have noticed that? Right? You have the people who think this is really just about a virus. You have the people who think that all of our rights are going to get taken away and we're going to be living in a fucking Hunger Games world, right? You have the people who are completely avoiding talking about what's happening and just going business as usual, pretending we're not in the middle of a galactic war. You have the light workers who are telling you, focus on what you want. Stop freaking out, right? Like there's so many timelines happening right now. Open your eyes, realize you have everybody on the same planet living in different worlds. Different, totally different. And some of you guys are looking at each other like, how is she there? How did she get there? Yeah? And then they're looking at you like, how is she there? Like, what? How many of you are seeing that? Like so much miscommunication, so much misunderstanding because you're literally different, living on different earths. That's not even an exaggeration. That's actually what's happening. So something that Magenta said was that will become accented, and it is. You will begin to really recognize how it is that different people live in different timelines and have completely different experiences of reality. Okay? Like for myself, like I am having a great time home with my family and I don't feel caged in and I don't feel obstructed. I'm not having any of the feelings that a lot of people I know are having. And I find that fascinating, right? And I'm seeing it, the panic versus the calm, the education versus the rabbit hole diving. Like I'm seeing all these behaviors and all these ways of being. Some people's businesses are thriving. Other people's businesses are struggling. Some people are getting a raise at their job right now. Some people lost their job, okay? Different realities are happening at the same time. And that's real, okay? So what I'm asking you as a friend, as someone who considers herself to be a white hat, as someone who considers herself to be an anchor for good on this planet, is I want you guys to understand how much power you have. The human mind is so powerful. Your consciousness is gold. That's why you're valuable. That's why you're wanted, okay? So use it to project the reality you want to see happen, the kind of world you want to see come. I have chills saying this. This is so important. I really need you guys to hear this. This is the most important thing I'm going to tell you, probably forever. This is it, okay? Know what you want out of this and spend time every single day planting that seed in your heart and remembering what you want and allowing your consciousness to put that into the grid, to build that into the grid. So the idea of doing the group meditation tomorrow was so that we could do that together, because when you put everybody together and you amplify that experience, it's so much stronger. Again, the link for that will be in the comments. You can join me for that. I'm also doing, this is another announcement, I'm offering mini readings because I've had a lot of people approach me who need help making decisions right now. And I'm doing it on a sliding scale, which is something I've never done before. But if you want some counsel, they're 30-minute sessions, just short, for you to get support. There's a sliding scale. It's very affordable. It's basically pay what you can. And again, just to be able to hold space for you guys, answer your questions. You can get some one-on-one time. And then of course, like whatever you guys need support-wise that I can offer you, whether it's a realm like that or answering a question because you have it, or working out or whatever, like I am here for you for this, okay? I have a very strong feeling that the whole reason I decided to stay on this planet was for this moment in time. So, yes, Tiana, I'm calm at home. I've been talking obsessively about changing these things that no longer serve me. I love that. I love that. That's what this time is for. Like, look at your whole life and be like, do I even like this lamp? Do I even fucking want this lamp? Why is this lamp in my house? Like, look at the lamp and be like, is this lamp even working for me? Okay? What is my yard doing with itself? Does it have any food in it? Maybe I need to put some food in my yard and start learning how to grow stuff? A lot of you guys are growing gardens now because you're becoming aware that maybe you should understand your relationship to the planet more and how your food source happens, right? Amazing time to do that. Like, look at everything with those eyes of like, what is actually for me and what's not? And start letting go of the things that are not, okay? So valuable. Thank you for sharing that. So many people can resonate with that. So tomorrow I am doing that meditation in the evening, and in the morning I'm doing a live group workout. So in the morning I'm trying out a new program. It's a boxing program. My husband did it today. He had a lot of fun doing it for 30 minutes, and it's a Zoom link. So we're gonna like video conference. It's a free video conferencing app, and we're all gonna work out together, and then I'm gonna bookend my day by doing the meditation so I can spend some solid time with you guys on the weekend. So if you would like to join me for that, I'm going to put the Zoom link in here as well. And then you guys literally will just click on it and show up tomorrow morning, and we'll work out together and move our bodies and breathe. And to me, again, this is the whole point of every time I talk about exercise and moving your body and breathing and why it's so important. This is how you cleanse your body. Like when you have all this pent up energy, if you're not moving and breathing and sweating and activating, it's all just like this in your body. It's like choking you energetically. You need to be letting it out of your body any way you possibly can on a consistent basis, right? I learned this magic of exercise 4 years ago. By the way, this is my 4-year anniversary as fitness coach this month, the 9th actually. I became obsessed. I was like, oh my God, this is how you transmute energy. This is how you change frequency. So easy. And you do it with other people, and it's so much fun. Okay? Oh, thank you, Bridget. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I'm so glad that you are feeling so much better after watching this. Anchor that energy, sister. Hi, Jenny. Doing a great job. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really proud of my anniversary of helping people with exercise and nutrition. It's a huge... I'm obsessed with people's well-being, and I think because I understand when... Here's what I see happen when you feel really good in your physical body, you start to see the world really different. And you make very different decisions. I have seen people start to really take care of themselves and make dramatic life changes all of a sudden. Because what happens is as you're starting to take care of yourself and your frequency starts to go up, you start to realize that you're mismatched with the things in your world, and you start cleaning house, right? So it's almost like I use fitness as like a sneak attack. Like I get people in my fitness community and I'm like, we're going to exercise and we're going to work on our nutrition. And then as soon as they start like shedding bullshit, I'm like, aha, here's your new life. Surprise. Oh, Adelina, thank you for being on my live, sister. I love you. Hi, Julia. Hi. Oh, you're welcome, Deanna. My pleasure. So is this making sense? Is this genealogy that I have given you, this history of our Earth and how it's never been agendaless and all the timelines that are happening, does that make sense? Show me some hearts if that makes sense, or you can drop a comment. And I want you guys to begin to understand that you have control. You're not powerless in this time. And screaming about injustices does not actually add to the power of good. It actually just makes everybody else really afraid and feed into a timeline that is not for our good, okay? So be very mindful of how you share information. Understand that there is a way to get digital consent for things, okay? That's a thing. You could do what I do. Just say, here's a thread. If you want to read information relevant to what's happening now that I have found, open the thread. So simple. I've had great success with my threads, hundreds of comments, lots of people reading them, and then there are people who don't read them. That's okay, but the people who want to will. That's fine, okay? Be mindful is all I'm saying. Just be very mindful of how you use the energy and how you exchange energy, because that's what we have right now. Ironically, we're all now digital friendships. Every single one of us has become a digital relationship, right? So be mindful of that, of the value of that. Hi, Ashley. So again, we're doing that meditation tomorrow in the evening. I'm doing that live group workout. I'm going to put the Zoom link here so you can join me tomorrow live. I'm doing the sliding scale readings for 30 minutes if you need me, okay? Let me know if you're interested and I will hook you up. And then I also do have a Patreon, because I had some people ask me if they could contribute to my videos and my research, because I've been putting a lot of content out there that's education-based and current event-based, and I do have that. So I'll share all these links for you guys so you can have access to that. But thank you for joining me and for being a part of this conversation. Thank you for being incarnated on this planet at this time. This is such a delicate but beautiful time to be alive. And I am immensely grateful that I am sharing it with you guys and not here alone. We are turning the tides, my friends. So stay true to your course and to the energy grid that you want to anchor on this planet. And whenever you start to feel like you're getting off, remember how you come back and use your resources, your community, your tool, and reach out if you need one. Okay? I love you guys so much. I'll see you tomorrow morning for our group workout, and I'll see you tomorrow night for our group meditation. All right. So much love.